Hi, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. I'm doing fantastic. Well, it's Friday and I am super excited that the week has finally come to an end and yay, tomorrow is Saturday. Anyway, it was not about the weekend. This is about me sharing with you experiences that I've had. And today, I'll talk about depression. Why do I want to talk about depression? Like, oh my gosh, do I want to expose myself? Okay, there she's happy. Yeah, I'm human. And I've had a crossing with depression. Well, it started a long time ago. And by the way, not many people know that actually they're going through a depressive mode. Well, I did not know, but ililipuka, as it blew up after my father passed away. That was like the third major loss in my life. I had lost my marriage in 2000. You know, when you get divorced, it's like another loss. You go through that grieving process. Then I had lost my mom in 2003, May, and then April 2004, my dad died. I think my brain couldn't take anymore. So I started slipping into depression, but I did not know. All I know is that I was making a lot of calculations because I wanted to go back to school. I had to go and pursue a degree in counseling or psychology. And at the same time, I wanted to buy a car. At the same time, I wanted to buy land. So my head was heavy with a lot of very, very serious investments that I wanted to do. Investing in myself in terms of education and investing in terms of acquiring some property. Now, I was doing a lot of calculations. Man, right on the side of my bed, I had a little table there. I had just paper and pen and calculations. And those calculations did not seem to add up. So I was getting more anxious. At the same time, I'm still dealing with the loss of my father. And anytime that I made a phone call and somebody did not pick up their call, the first thing that came to my mind was, Guy, the person has died or what? And so I was in this high state of anxiety. I had just gotten a permanent position in my, whatever I had been employed. And I was very anxious what I was going to, give it the best that I could. Because it was an international organization, and after all those losses, to come crawling in with an esteem, a self-esteem that is very weak, very compromised. So I was having so many things going on in my mind at that time. And so when there about October 2004, I started getting, I had the first experience with a panic attack. I thought I was dying. Basically, that panic attack comes and your brain says you are dying, you're getting a heart attack, as if you've ever had an attack before or you've ever died before, so you know how it feels. But that's what your brain just says, we are dying. It was a horrific experience. And I went to the ER in Aga Khan Hospital, and nobody's explaining to me what's happening. They're just putting things on me here. Oh, we want to check your heart. We want to check your, that ECG thingy. And then they come back and say, no, your heart is okay. Then they just wrote there a sleep, what do you call it, a leave sleep, sick leave sleep, and just said palpitations. Nobody ever explained to me what was going on. It was after several ERs in Mata Hospital and in Aga Khan Hospital that I got to know what was happening. 2 different types of psychiatrists. You can imagine now me going to see psychiatrist. Hey, it really was knocking down on my self-esteem, and I was wondering, oh my goodness, what kind of a loser am I? But anyway, I was like, first of all, let's get help. After 2 not very good experiences with some very senior psychiatrists in Kenya, I remembered a doctor who was a friend of mine, a family friend, and I knew that was where I should have gone because he too is a psychiatrist. So I went to see the guy, the psychiatrist, and I told him what was happening, and he said, well, girl, knowing what you have experienced in life, this was bound to happen. And I was like, what? Said, yes. Post-traumatic stress disorder can hit you when you have gone through or experienced traumatic incidences in your life and they are following one after the other. And so we went into this treatment program, and I started doing very serious counseling every week. I think I was going for 2 sessions, and I started to understand what was going on. I started to understand, what was really happening. And I was so happy, because the medication brought me back, and then understanding what was going on and unpacking all those things and talking about it and feeling all that pain all over again, the loss of the marriage, the experience, the loss of my mom, the loss of my father. Oh my goodness, it was too much. Well, and at the same time, I was like, nothing is going to bring me down. Nothing is going to put me down. This is enough. So I read a lot about anxiety disorder. I read a lot about depression. I read a lot about what was going on. And guess what? So I had to defer my my studies. And apparently, when I went to the University of Nairobi, I realized that they did not have psychology in the parallel. They only had it in mainstream classes. So I was like, So now I went and asked, okay, let me then do sociology, and I was Shingo Pande, I wasn't really into that. Anywho, after deferring it for about a year and a half, when I came back, hey, guess what? They had psychology in parallel. Yes, yeah, and I was so happy. And but at that time I had to go through a lot of slaying of demons, slaying of mental demons, slaying of, all those experiences, and of course medication. I didn't take medication for very long because you take it at a certain duration, but coupled with counseling or the talk therapy, it really helps. And I remember at some point I realized that I didn't want to go out of Nairobi. Why? Because I felt like if I went out of Nairobi, I was going to have the panic attacks and there would be no hospital for me to run to, And so I decided, no, I'm going to challenge myself a good one. And so some ladies where I was working, they had organized a trip to Mara. And I said, I'm going to go to Mara because it is the farthest from Nairobi. And I'm going to test myself because I needed to really test the muscle and strengthen that muscle of, confidence that I was going to make it. And so we went to Mara for 3 days. Of course, I carried my meds, but man, it was a struggle because that anxiety, those thoughts were really coming, and I was like, no, we are not entertaining new thoughts. When I went back to Nairobi, my confidence levels had gone from maybe 20 to probably 110%. I was so happy. I knew I could make it. I knew I could beat this thing. So, and that's how I started the journey to recovering, learning the breathing techniques. When the anxiety comes out, when I'm in the office, I would go to we had a gym in the office. I'd go to the gym, lie there, breathe in and out until that anxiety subsides. Then I go back to work. It was a struggle, people. Hey, Jameni. But I beat it. I beat it to a point where I stopped taking medication. And I remember one time I told this psychiatrist, doctor friend of mine, that I was going to move. I'm going to relocate. And then he says, oh, I don't think someone who has had an encounter with anxiety disorder is advisable for them to leave. I said, you said what? Oh, okay. Let us see whether it is true or right or wrong. So actually I also came here to prove to myself that I can be anywhere, I can go anywhere. But the thing that I still keep in check or I'm maintaining is that I always have a counselor with me. Right now my counselor, McKenna, is in Kenya, but when we need to meet, we meet on WhatsApp. And I get my sessions and I get to talk to somebody. When I find myself struggling with something, I call her and say, can we talk? So I'm encouraging that you don't have to wait until things have gone as bad as some of us had to experience. But the moment you realize you're struggling with something or a situation or thoughts or an experience that you feel is beginning to take a toll on your day-to-day activities, or what we call the activities of daily living, showering, eating, sleeping. Sometimes you might find yourself zoning out, like you become a zombie. If you're zombieing around, look for a counselor, look for someone, talk to somebody. But mostly talk to a professional who's going to help you, because if you talk to others, they'll be like, where? Guy, what? How? It just may make you feel even worse. Talk to a qualified person who will help you understand what's going on and help you come up with skills and techniques of overcoming not only what you're going through, but even what can come even in the future, because challenges will always come. But that you have talked to somebody and that there's someone you trust, and that person has nothing but the best for you. So don't be depressed. Don't feel the way I felt, so inadequate when I was told that I have depression. I was like, guy, how and there I'm a happy person. Well, those people who are very happy are those who are actually dying under depression because they have a facade that they have to, they have to hide themselves, wear a mask, because where people cannot know I am having issues. Oh, when I'm having issues, mtajua, because I'll bring it here. Don't be embarrassed. You're a human being. You're not at this point when you're here on earth life, you are a human being. When you go to heaven, where we will be given new bodies and new minds, you won't have to worry about other life challenges. But while we're still here, still experiencing these challenges, because that's the human experience right here, don't die with your shidas. Don't die with your problems, man. Don't go under. Because nobody else out there, everybody else is dealing with their own issues. So don't worry about people will talk whether you have done anything or not. Even if you just stayed in bed the whole night and the whole day and the whole week, they will still talk. So talk to somebody, talk to a professional, talk to someone who is trained to be a counselor or a therapist. So I shared with you my experience, because some people look at me and think like, oh my God, Karen is always happy. Oh my God. No, I have my days, man. I have my days. So I hope this has helped you, because it has helped me as well. So until the next time, take care. God loves you. I love you. All right. Take care now.